Good morning. So this morning I want to read The Stinky Giant, and I want to thank Random House for giving us permission to read their books online. A long time ago, a brother and a sister lived in a beautiful valley. The sister's name was Pepper, and the brother's name was Jake. They had a happy life. Every day they sang songs and watched their sheep. They only had one problem. The problem's name was Urk. Urk was a huge, mean giant. He was rude and he was ugly. When Urk burped, it sounded like thunder, and when he sneezed, houses blew away. Urk lived in a castle, and it was way up on top of a mountain. Every Thursday, Urk washed his clothes. Urk's clothes was very big, so Urk's wash tub was very big too. When he was done washing his clothes, Urk emptied his wash tub, and the water came roaring down the mountain, and it was a huge flood. Sometimes things were swept away. Sometimes some of Pepper and Jake's sheep were lost. So Pepper and Jake had to walk way down the valley to get their sheep back. Pepper and Jake were tired of Urk and Urk's laundry. One day, Jake fell into a big puddle of Urk's dirty wash water. He came out all stinky. "That's it. We're going to talk to Urk," said Jake. They looked up at Urk's castle. It would be hard to get there, but they knew they had to go. So they made some egg and salty pickle sandwiches, and they filled a goatskin bag with water, and they set out to climb Urk's mountain. They climbed up. The higher they went, the colder it got, and their teeth chattered. Their sweat froze. And after a while, they got hungry. They stopped to eat their sandwiches. Their lunch made them thirsty, but the water in the goatskin was frozen solid. Finally, they arrived at the castle. They banged hard on the door. The door swung open. There, sitting at his table, was Urk. He was having a gigantic bowl of smelly soup. "Well," said the giant, "what do you want?" Not too nice, huh? "We want you to stop flooding us with dirty wash water," said Pepper. The giant's laughter boomed across the room. But Jake and Pepper scolded him so he would know how serious they were. Urk just kept laughing. "Okay," Urk finally said, "I have an idea. We giants have a secret riddle. No one has ever been able to answer it. If you can answer this riddle, I will boil you for... If you can't answer this riddle, I'll boil you for soup, and I'll throw your sheep in too. If you can't answer it, I lose, and I'll move away." That seem fair? "Where will you move to?" asked Pepper. "You can pick, because I won't lose," said Urk. Jake pointed to the map. "Here," he said, and they shook on it. Urk gave them the riddle. "There is something you see every day, and it is one thing, but it's also three things." "I'll give you 3 days to come up with an answer," shouted the giant. "Now go home." Okay, before I go any further, do you think you know what it is? What is one thing, but it's three things? Any ideas? Pepper and Jack went down the mountain. "Look," said Pepper, "the ice is in the bag has turned back to water." Jake was so thirsty he drank half the water. When they finally got home, they started thinking about the riddle. What could be one thing but be three things? They only had 3 days, or they would be Jack and Pepper and sheep soup. What about a fish?" Pepper said. "First it's an egg, and then it's a fish." "And that's all," said Jake. 2 things. On the second day, Jake had an idea. "Peanut butter," he said. "It's crunchy or it's creamy." "And that's all," said Pepper. Then she said, "What about a book? It's open or it's closed." "But that's only 2 things." After that, they were so tired they had to go to sleep. But they went to bed scared. If they didn't come up with an answer tomorrow, they would be soup. On the third morning, Jack and Pepper were really worried, and today they had to go back to Irk, and they still had no answer. "Let's have some dandelion tea," said Pepper. "It'll help us think." So Jake put water on the kettle and put the kettle on the boil. Pepper decided she would have some iced tea. Soon the water was boiling, and the kettle whistled, and the steam came jetting out of the spout. Jake and Pepper looked at the steam. They looked at Pepper's eyes. They looked at each other. "Water," they said together. Water like the stuff they used to make the tea. Water like the ice in Pepper's glass. And water like the steam coming out of the kettle. They raced back up the mountain. They didn't even care that the water in the goatskin bag was turning to ice, and they didn't even care about Irk's steamy, stinky wash water. They had won. "We figured it out," said Pepper. "It's water," said Jake. "Steam, ice, and liquid, but all water." Did any of you all guess water? Irk turned red, then he turned purple. "No," he shouted, "you couldn't have figured it out. Nobody figures it out." But they had, and a deal was a deal. Irk would have to move to the horrible land of Hooey, and he would have to wash his clothes in the giant smelly swamp. Irk hated it, but a deal was a deal. He left the very next day for the horrible land of Hooey, but he left his dirty sock behind. Thank you all so much for joining me today.